This conference will now be recorded.
So let me start, guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sujit, it's just a miscommunication. They understood today is a weekend.
Oh, is it? Are they joining now?
Yeah, they're joining. Okay, give another 2 minutes. They're just joining.
Okay.
I also not.
This conference will now be recorded.
So in our last session, what we discussed, what is the topic? I think we discussed about orchestration, what is a mule, and what is an any point platform architecture for mule. So what is an orchestration? What do you remember from that? What is an orchestration?
So coordination with multiple applications and getting a desired output.
Exactly. So coordination of multiple services to get the desired output. Correct. Perfect. Anyone want to add anything else for the statement? Yes, yes. Srini, Bhimsen, Mike, Sahitya. No, that's fine. So that is the exact statement. The process of coordinating with the multiple services to get the desired output. Okay. Now, where we write that orchestration logic? Quickly, we'll wrap up in 5 to 10 minutes. All this whatever we discussed. Where we write that orchestration logic?
Mule application.
In that mule application?
XML. Okay, I can say mule configuration XML something.
Yeah, mule configuration XML. In that XML,
we'll have flows.
Exactly. So orchestration logic can be written in a flows. Flows can be written in a XML file. That XML can be created under mule project, mule application. So how many XMLs we can write in one mule application? That means mule configuration XML I'm talking about. So how many mule configuration XMLs we can write out? N number. How many flows we can create in one XML? N number. N number, same, right? Next. Once you create a project, first of all, according to the SDLC, that means what we discussed on that day, where we are going to design according to the requirement.
Anypoint Studio?
Sorry. No. No. Let me open the picture. Yeah, now you can tell.
Okay, design center.
Yeah, what is that? Design center. Okay, next. Once you design, then if you want to take a feedback from a client, how you can share your API to the client?
By exposing it to Exchange.
Client.
You'll implement and
No, how you can share your API to the client? You need to share to the public portal, right? From where you can share that onto the public portal? First, we need to publish onto the exchange. Right? In the exchange, who can access the API?
Client.
No. In an exchange, who can access that API? At an organization level, who are having the same account, they can only access that exchange, right? Client can be accessed by using a public portal, right? Next, once you write the design, once you take a sign up for the design, what is the next step? Writing the implementation by using what? Anypoint Studio. We'll call that as a flow definitions. Okay, we will call that defining the application. Designing is done under design center. Defining is done under Anypoint Studio, right? Next, once you define, what is the next step? Yes. Once you define, then it can we go for testing? Right? By using what we can do the testing. If we want to write a unit testing or integration testing, sorry. By using which framework?
MUnit.
MUnit framework.
Yes.
Right. Once the testing is done, then it can go for a deployment. Where we can deploy, what are the types of strategies we can deploy your application?
Cloud services, on-premise, a hybrid, RTF.
Okay. Okay. 4 types of deployment strategies. One is cloud deployment, one is on-premise deployment, one is hybrid model, and one more is runtime fabric. We discussed about the
Okay.
differences between a cloud hub and a runtime fabric as well, right? And what is an IPaaS? IPaaS.
Infrastructure.
IPaaS, integration platform as a service, by using a IaaS. What is the IaaS? Infrastructure as a service. Okay, this is the architecture of any point platform, right? Now, this session, what I'm going to discuss right now, okay, this session is very, very important in order to understand how a mule flow works behind the scenes. Okay, now, as I said, I'm going to use Postman as a client. I'm going to use a Postman as a client. So we will treat this, whatever the request coming from the client, we will treat that as a requirement. Okay, according to the requirement, as I said, as I discussed in the last session, first we are going to write the definitions. That means we are going to write the implementation. We learn how to write the implementations first. So assume my client is giving some request like this. I will explain about it. Simple. Okay, this is the simple URL, right? What type of URL, what type of request it is? What type of request? HTTP request. Assume that this is my mule application. That means a flow. In a mule application, assume that this is a flow. We are getting some request from the client. What type of request? HTTP request, right? Now, in order to listen for this request, I need to configure one component.
HTTP listener.
Very good. What is that? Listener. Listener means it will listen on some port. By default in Mule, my listener will listen on some port number called 8081. By default, the port number is 8081. For what? What type of listener it is? It is listening for HTTP request. So it is an HTTP listener. Actually, the structure of a flow is like this, divided into 3 parts. What are those? Source. It's a source. What is this? Process. And this one is error handling block. So forget about this error handling as of now. We are not discussing about this. We will discuss about source and the process part as of now. So in source, what we configure, I will call this HTTP listener as an inbound endpoint. Inbound endpoint. Why? Any reason? Because
requests are coming inside our network.
Yes. So this HTTP request is accepting the request into the flow, right? Now, what this listener will do, what the responsibility of this listener? Actually, whenever we get a request, one plain, that means HTTP message will get created. What is the structure of a message?
Header and body.
Header and a body, right? Now, this HTTP listener, this inbound endpoint, what it will do? It will receive the request, that means plain HTTP message, and it will convert that plain HTTP message into a mule related message. What is this message called? Mule message. Mule message. Of course, message contains 2 parts. But here, this HTTP message headers will be flow as an attributes. This body will be flow as an, I'm introducing one terminology called payload. So what do you mean by payload? If going forward, if you see the payload, what you need to treat that as? as a,
Content of the request.
it's a body, right? Attributes means header, right? Say for understanding purpose, I said this message to message, HTTP message to mule message. Actually, this listener will convert this HTTP message into one structure. Actually, they have designed like this. What is this structure? This is called mule event, which contains two parts again. One is variables, where we can create a variables, and one more is mule message. Again, you know, mule message is comprises of, yes, respond.
Attributes and payload.
And payload. Now, can you please tell me what is the structure of an event?
Variables and a mule message.
Of course, mule message consists of
Attributes and payload.
payload. So finally, the event structure is like this. How? Attributes, payload, and variables. Right. So who is creating this event?
Listener.
Listener. Very good. Basically, the source inbound endpoint is converting that plain request into mule event. So event will be driven throughout the process. Whenever you give a request, that will be converted into an event by inbound endpoint, right? So what is the structure of event after this listener here in the process part?
Mule event.
That is what event structure is. What?
Mule messages and variables.
First of all, what is the request I'm getting from the client? HTTP domain, port number, path. In this request, do I have any attributes? No, right? So empty attributes. Now, do I have any payload in the body? Am I sending any body through this request? Or is there any component which is having a body? No. So empty payload. In this application, did I create any variable? No. So empty variable structure. So this is the event structure after the listener. Now, actually, I want the output as from my mule application as hello world, simple plain text. Simple plain text. So this is the body I want at the end of the application. So what is the component I can configure here in order to set this hello world value as a payload value? There is one component called, it comes under a transformer family. That component name is what? Set payload. So by seeing the name itself, we may understand this. What it is going to do, what we are going to do by using this set payload component, we are trying to set the payload value in the incoming event. So my set payload, what it will do? See, I said event will be driven throughout the process between the processors. So that is why this is called event driven approach. Event driven approach. So this is the event will be read by this payload. So by using the set payload, what I am trying to do in the event, I'm trying to set a payload value as hello world. Okay, plain text value as hello world. So after the set payload, what is the event structure? Now you can tell me. Yes, empty attributes, payload. Payload is having some value for hello world.
Hello world.
And variables empty.
Empty variable.
Right? Now, at the end of the application, whatever the event structure, that event structure will be given back to the listener. Right? What my listener will do? Under the listener, we have one more section called responses. What this responses? I'm drawing here. Just have a look. This is the responses. Under these responses, there are two blocks. If you don't have any exception and your flow, success event will be given to the listener. If you have any exception in the flow, then exception event will be given to the listener, right? So now what is the event given to this listener here under the response tab? Success
Hello
event.
world.
Success event to the listener. Entire event will be given, not only the payload. Entire event will be given to the listener. Now in this case, success event. So if there is no exception, if it is success event, here we have something called if there are no responses, success body will be displayed. What is the body by default? What is the body by default? It will be in this
Attribute.
syntax. It will be in this syntax. Hash and square bracket represents a data view expression language. Okay, so by seeing this, my mule runtime is able to understand this is a data view expression. Whatever you write inside these two square brackets in this syntax, it will be treated as a data view expression. So in the body, by default, it will be written as a payload. Actually, payload is a keyword in a data view. What it is trying to do, if you write that keyword in a data view expression language, it is trying to extract the value of a payload in the event. So here, what is the event? This is the event structure, right? What is the value of the payload? Hello world. That will be displayed as a body to whom? To client. Understood? Understood? If you don't want the default option, then you can write any simple text also. If I write Sujit, that will be displayed irrespective of what is the event given to the listener. Basically, this response tab is responsible to give response back to the client. If you have any exception, this block will get executed. I'm not talking about that because we need to explain few more concepts before coming to this exception block. Okay, so as of now, I'm treating this as a success event. Okay, if you have a success, so understood clearly. Whenever you give a request, how a flow works. Any questions?
Where do you configure this slash closed brackets? Is it under HTTP listener?
No. See, wherever you want to write a data view expressions, the transformation logic, wherever you want to write, there you can configure this. Okay, I will show you practically where you are going to configure and all. Okay, just I'm telling the concept.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Sujit, any other example which is having attributes, payload, and variables as input?
I will just see. So we are going to see one by one practically.
Okay, no problem. Sorry to ask.
Yeah, I'm going to show you that.
No
I'm going to give a task also on that for you. No worries.
Okay.
Yeah. As of now, understood what I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to establish behind the scenes how it works whenever you give a request. Of course, I have given only one processor, but if you have multiple processors also, if you have one more processor after that, example, I'm using a logger. There is a component called logger. Here I will write. You asked, right, where we can write. Here also we can write expression simply as a payload. What it will do? What is the event before this logger? This is the event, right? This event, in that event, what is the payload value? Hello world. That will be logged onto the console. This is nowhere related to client. This is only for the developer to see what is the response given to the client. So if you want to see that, you can write in a logger. Now at the end of the flow, that means logger is the last component now. So at the end of the flow, after the logger, what is the event that is given back to the listener? So finally, at the end of the flow, what is the event structure after all the processors? That event will be given back to the listener. Got it?
Yeah.
Yes, no?
So this logger is just for our debugging purpose, right?
Exactly. Just to log the information on as a developer if you want to see what happens here.
Makes sense.
That's why I said first without logger. Nowhere, I mean, it's not going to affect anything.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So what's this whole component? So this HTTP listener until coming back. So this whole component is a flow.
Sorry, I am not able to understand. I mean, not clear your voice again today. Starting, it's very good. Now again, I don't know. If anyone unable to understand, maybe my system problem, I don't know. If anyone able to understand, please.
No, it's
can you
same
please-
here. It's same here. Mike, I suggest you type over here over chat room. Maybe that would be helpful.
That's the best option as well.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll probably try this phone to call.
See what you spoke now also I'm not able to listen properly. Something you're speaking, I'm not able to understand that clearly. Any other questions from anyone? Johnny? Whole thing is a flow. Exactly. This is the flow. We will write this is an orchestration logic what I have written inside this flow. Yes, Mike? Understood? Johnny, Chandrasekhar, Munuswami, Beam, Sahitya. Is it
Yes.
understood? So now I want
Yes,
to
yes.
write this flow practically where I can write in a where I can write yes in a AnyPoint Studio. I required some platform to write your Mule application, right? What is the platform? What is the IDE name? AnyPoint Studio IDE. You can directly download that IDE from the website. Go to the browser and type for AnyPoint Studio download. What is the latest version of AnyPoint Studio? If you click on this link,
7.8.
yeah, always it will give the latest version only. It is a 30 days free trial. I will tell a trick how to use after 30 days also. Leave it to me. Okay, we'll discuss that later. So select the operating system and select this mandatory fields and click on a download. Once you click on a download, it's always it will give latest version only. Right now the latest version is 7.8. If you want the old version, have I given this folder with you? No, right? I don't think so. I have not given this folder. Is it? Or I have given?
You have shared over Google Drive, I think.
Drive.
Yeah.
You have downloaded that, everyone?
Yes, myself.
Yes, you have given already.
Yeah, I downloaded AnyPoint.
Have you downloaded that?
7.6.
Download. Yeah. So here you can see there is 7.5.1 zip file I have given. You can use 7.5.1 AnyPoint Studio 2 till 7.8 AnyPoint Studio any version. Right? Now, one second. Once you click on a download on the website, it will create one zip file like this. Okay, one zip file. While for extraction, my suggestion, please use WinRAR tool, WinRAR zip file tool. I don't see any issues with this tool while extracting any zip file here, right? Of course, you can use any, but my suggestion is please use WinRAR tool. It's an open source, you can download as well. Now, right click on that, extract here. I'm trying to extract here. One more suggestion, if you are using AnyPoint Studio from my folder, please take this zip file out of this MuleSoft4.x folder and keep it on the desktop and try to extract over there. So in starting stage, getting issues is not correct. So I'm telling what are the issues you are going to get. So to rectify that, take that AnyPoint Studio onto the desktop. Otherwise, if you extract from here itself, it will throw some path related issues. Okay, if you want to see the exception and if you want to rectify, you can do that. Otherwise, if you want to save some time, please take that AnyPoint Studio zip file onto the desktop and try to extract over there. Based on my experience, based on my questions, what I got from the students, I'm trying to help you out with that because to save some time. Still it is extracting today. It is taking long time. Yes. So once you extract that, you can see the folder structure of your AnyPoint Studio, right? And one more suggestion from my side: before opening this AnyPoint Studio, please ensure that you set up the environment variables. What are the environment variables? You should have JDK on your machine. That JDK also I have given you on the folder which I have given to you. JDK installer, JDK 1.8 installer. And again, I'm telling, this is not an open source. When it was an open source, I downloaded and kept it ready. Now, if you want the JDK, you can go to the website and download a open JDK. Okay, but don't use this JDK on your office laptops. No. Okay. If you're using a personal, that's fine. Please don't use in your office laptops. Or else, if you are using office laptop, ask your admin to install that. They will install from their end. Right. Now, how to check whether the JDK is installed on your machine or not? Go to the run command prompt. Just type Java space hyphen version. So JDK 1.8, it is there at my machine. Where it is installed by default, it will be installed on program files under the Java folder. So we can see here JDK, not JRE, JDK. In that JDK, we have JRE already. So what is the JDK? Java Development Kit. So we are going to develop your Mule application. Behind the scenes, Mule applications are Java applications, right? We are going to develop that. We are going to develop the Java application. That means Mule application. We require JDK. So in that JDK, there is something called bin folder where we have some executable files. Copy this path. Copy this path and go to the environment variables. Right click on this PC. So I'm just telling for each and every, I'm keeping everyone in my mind as zero in Mule or in from IT. That is the reason I'm telling all this basic stuff too, right? So while you are setting up in AnyPoint Studio, I don't want you to feel some difficulty. So I'm just telling each and every step, even though if it is a basic stuff, if you think. So under advanced system settings, environment variables. So you can see two windows. One is user level, one is system level variables. Under system level variable, you can see there is something called path variable. In that path, if you don't have a path variable, click on new and write a path and variable. It should point to bin folder. If it is already existing, if not pointing to bin, click on edit and click on a new, give the path. By using this move up option, make sure that it is in the first line. Okay. Next. At user level, we are going to use this one, standalone server. Standalone server, look for Java_home at your user level variables. So Java_home level variable also should be there, but this time it should point to not bin folder. Remove that slash and bin. It should point to JDK. Okay, these are the two setups you need to do. Okay, before starting AnyPoint Studio. Okay, see, once you set up the environment variables, you know already you need to restart your machine. Right now, let me go back to the AnyPoint Studio folder. This is the AnyPoint Studio folder, right? Under this AnyPoint Studio, there is something called application. See, AnyPoint Studio is not installing on your OS. Okay, it is not installing on your OS. It is an application based. See, if I double click on that, that means if I execute this application, it will ask for your workspace. Okay, let me show you. It will give a pop-up to have a workspace. What is the workspace? I will let you know. First time it will take some time, okay, in order to install or in order to extract that Java files That means class files, simply dependencies, to load all the dependencies. First time it will take 2 to 3 minutes. It's taking no time. So as I said, what is the system requirement to work on this Anypoint Studio? Minimum was 8 GB RAM size. Hope everyone have this 8 GB at least. Mine is 16 GB, even though it is a little bit slow.
And it's 4 GB.
Oh, 4 GB not supported only. Please try to extend that to 8 GB at least. If it is possible. Yeah. Okay. See here, it is asking for the workspace. By default, it will give the Anypoint Studio workspace. Please don't take that. If you have any other browser, if you have any other directory in your partitions, please go through that. So right now I'm going to use my F drive. Okay, I'm creating a new folder with a name, participant name Johnny, and time is 8:50 p.m. Okay, this is a habit to me to create a folder to avoid some confusion with a participant name at the timing. So I'm selecting this folder. What I'm trying to do here, what is the workspace? What do you mean by workspace? What are the projects we are going to create? I want them to store on this location, project location. Click on a launch. So once you click before that one more point. I said it is a 30 days trial version, right? If at all it is completed 30 days, this workspace will not be available. Will it be available or not? It is there on my system.
Available.
It will be available, right? Because again we will extract that Anypoint Studio. Again it will start 30 days trial version. Then we need to give the workspace. Okay, where is the folder, right? Just click on that. Now immediately go to the F drive where you created the folder. You can see some metadata. What do you mean by metadata?
Data
What do you
about
mean
it.
by metadata? Data about a data about itself. That means what? In this metadata, you can see some plugins. I said Anypoint Studio is developed by using what plugins? Eclipse plugins. Eclipse. Anyone worked on Eclipse here already? Eclipse.
Yes.
Eclipse is also an IDE where we can develop our Java applications. Mainly we use to develop Java applications, right? So similarly, Anypoint Studio is also an IDE. If anyone worked on Eclipse IDE, you can see the similarities between Eclipse and Anypoint Studio. So let me open that Anypoint Studio here. This is the welcome screen. If you have any updates, whenever you open the Anypoint Studio, it will be giving keep on updates. So continue to the studio. So this is the welcome screen of your studio where you are going to write all your projects and all, right? Okay. See, I am going to explain each and every point here. So this is the menu options, and under that we have a package explorer. On the left side you are able to see the package explorer. Under that we have some shortcuts. If you want to create a project, you can create by using a shortcut, or else go to the file, new mule project. Now it will give some pop-up to you again. What is the project name? I want 01 basics, and I want this project to be deployed on this runtime. But did I install this runtime? 4.3 runtime. Did I install? No, right? How I got this runtime here? How I got this runtime here? Whenever they are releasing Anypoint Studio,
Is embedded.
at that time they will check what is the latest version of a runtime. It will be embedded with your Anypoint Studio and be given. So by default, it is embedded and given to you, right? So if you want this 01 basics application to be deploy on some other versions of the runtime, click on install runtimes. Third option, Anypoint Studio Enterprise runtimes. You can select, you can see from 4.1 till 4.3 all runtimes are available. Already this 4.3 is added as a runtime to your studio. That's why you can see the difference in the icon, right? So if you want another, just select that, it will be added as a plugin. Click on next and click on finish. Okay, it will take some time, that's why I'm not doing that. If you want, while practicing, you can do that. So then it will be, once you install, it will be listed here under the runtimes, right? So right now by default my 4.3 is selected. This background colors means it is selected. If you have 4.2, if you can select that as well, right? 4.2 related drivers will be added to your project. If it is 4.3 related driver will be added to your project, right? Now that is about the runtimes. Next, API implementation. See, this API implementation, this is not the right time to speak, then we will speak that later part. Then we have one more, use default location. Whatever the project you are going to create, by default it will be located onto this location. Otherwise you can unhighlight and you can browse for that. Okay, let me go with the default, click on finish. I just clicked on a finish. Okay, here you can see on the package explorer 01 basics application got created, what mule application got created. But did I created all this structure? Did I created all this structure, src main mule, src main java, src main resources and all?
Yeah.
All right, but how I got this structure? How? Any idea?
You have predefined
Predefined,
structure, predefined files.
Yeah, of course it is a predefined structure, but how? Based on what it is created? So internally it is using one build tool. What is that build tool? Maven as a build tool. Okay, I mean, if anyone not aware of Maven, by Monday session, please ensure that you, have some knowledge on Maven. Maven is a very big subject again. Ensure that you have a Maven, okay, knowledge. In which case, I'm going to give an outline of a Maven on a Monday. Okay, before that, if you have some knowledge on that, so that you can connect with the what I'm talking, what I'm speaking, right, about a Maven. I will explain about this Maven structure, entire structure on that day. First, I will create whatever I have designed here. First, I will create and I will show the output. Then we will discuss internally how it works on Monday. So under src main mule, see by default where we can write a flows under configuration XML. You can see here. You can see here. 01 basics. How this got created? By default, one XML will be created with the project name. If you want to rename that, right click on this, refactor, rename. So I'm going to rename it as demo.xml file. Okay, now it got renamed. Let me open that XML file. So I see again, I'm going to discuss about all this stuff later. Okay, let me create a project. Let me create that whatever we discussed in the design. So first, what to do? In order to listen for this request, what is the connector I need to use? Under HTTP module, there is a listener. What is this palette? All these things we'll discuss. Okay. As of now, try to understand. This is a HTTP module. Under that module, there is a listener. Just drag and drop this listener. How it is creating a flow, all these things we'll see later, because we have only a few minutes left, 10 minutes. So that if I explain also, it will not up to the mark. So I will explain in detail. So first I have written a listener. Every connector under the module, we have a connector configuration, right? So let me configure that. By clicking on a plus sign, we are going to configure this listener. What is the port? So what is the request? What type of request? HTTP request. We are using HTTP protocol. What is the host?
Local host.
0000 represents a local host. You can use a name or an IP. And what is the port? By default, my HTTP listener will listen on which port?
8081.
And what is the base path? Base path. If anyone known about a Tomcat container, all the dynamic request will be mapped to by default slash. Not here. In the base path as a slash. See, here we have a dynamic request mapped to slash. Then we have a path, right? So if explicitly if you write a slash or not writing a slash, by default it will take a slash. If you want to test the connection, you can test the connection. Let me test the connection. Why it is testing a connection? What it is happening here? Once you click on a test connection, your application internally getting deployed and checks whether 8081 port is available or not on my local host. Yeah, if that connection is successful means what? 8081 port is available. If it is not available, you can change it. How to change? We'll see later. Click on OK. Now HTTP listener config I have created, right? Then what is the path? What is the path here? Demo is the path. You can use slash demo or a simple demo. Both are same. Okay, save it. Right. Next, what this listener will do? Once I deploy this application, listener will listen for the request and convert into event. Mule event. Yes, mule event. Just keep this picture in your mind. Okay. Now, in that empty event, I want to set a payload value as hello world. How can I set that? I'm just searching for one component called set payload. Okay. See what is the set payload, what is the search in parrot again. Okay, don't get worried, don't worry. I will discuss about all this in a sequence. Okay, so set payload. In the set payload, you can see some value and fx. Fx is a button. Okay, it's like a button. Okay, switch between the expression mode and a plain literal mode. So right now it is in an expression mode. How can I say that it is an expression mode? You can see the expression here. What type of expression? Hash and square bracket represents what type of expression?
Payload.
Data view expression. Data view expression. Inside that, I said payload is a keyword. Right? Okay. We'll discuss again about this data view expression later. Right now, I want to set hello world as a plain text value as a payload value. Right? So click on this fx button. It will switch to literal mode. Right? Hello world. I set this value as a payload value. So now actually this is a simple flow. At the end of the flow, you can see the arrow mark here, which is pointing to listener, right? So at the end of the flow, what is that event value? That means, sorry, in the event of payload value. Hello world. That entire event will be given to the listener. Under the listener, there is something called responses. To explain that responses, you can see two blocks. First block will be talk about there are no errors. If there is an error, error response tab will be involved. Right now, what I don't have any exceptions, right? So what is the body will be displayed back to the client by default? No. Payload is a keyword in a data view. Right now, expression mode, right? In expression mode, if I write a keyword payload, it will extract a payload value in the event, and that is displayed as a body to the client, right? Now let me deploy this application. Right click. How to deploy? Very simple. On this XML, right click on this, run the project. One option. On 01 basics, on project name, right click on that, run as mule application. This is one more option, and one more, mule application configure. Right? We can use multiple options. I will show one by one. Okay. very easiest way is right click on this XML and deploy entire project. So what's happening here? You can see Maven output. That means first your project is built as a Maven project. That means first it is building as a Maven project. Once the build is success, then it is going to start the Mule runtime, right? Because it is an embedded runtime, automatically it will start a Mule runtime. Then it is going to deploy the application on a runtime. Got it? That's what these logs are all about. We will discuss this in a standalone runtime again. So initializing app 01 basics. Yeah, which application got deployed? 01 basics. Status is deployed, successful deployment, right? Now once it is deployed, can I give a request to this application? If I give this request, what will be the body displayed at my client level?
Hello.
Simple.
Hello world.
Hello world.
Yes.
Right. Now I will go to the responses again. See, I'm doing some changes at my application level. Responses. Instead of a payload, I will write simply welcome to MuleSoft. See, I'm writing some string in an expression mode. We cannot write like this. In an expression mode, if you want to write any string, write in a quotes. Okay, save it. See, I'm doing some changes, right? You can see if you do any changes for your application, you can see the star option. That means there are some changes not yet affected. If you click on Control S, you can see the log will be changed. That means your application is getting restarted on the server. It is getting rebuilt and it getting restarted on your server. How this option is enabled by default? If I save it under the project, you can see build automatically option. It is enabled, right? Now we can see the log started app so and so. Now can I give a request again? If I give a request, what is the response?
Welcome to MuleSoft.
Welcome to MuleSoft. So basically understood whenever you give a request, how a flow works, how a project will works. Of course, it's a very basic example. Going forward, we'll see the complex and same pattern. What we have done here, the same thing again. Okay, whatever the complex flow it is, event will be propagated between the processors. Okay, remember this point. Any questions here?
Sujit, one doubt, Sujit. Yes, Sujit.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, as a from HTTP client, we are getting request as a empty variable, empty attributes, right? But where we are creating hello world as a response.
Where we are creating hello world
as a response, right?
By using a set payload, we are setting that value, hard coding that value in the incoming event structure in a payload.
Okay, but my doubt is as a request, HTTP request is empty, right? It's empty variable and empty attributes.
Payload,
but
empty variable, empty payload, and empty variable.
Yes.
Yeah, we are getting empty before set payload. That's what we are trying to do here. We are setting manually the payload value.
Okay.
We are from
in actual, but it's not like that, right? I mean, in actual deployment.
Normal scenarios, this once you give this request, it will point to some third-party application. Here again, you need to write one connector. Then that third-party application will give some response. That response will be acting as a payload, right? So just for a demonstration purpose, I'm using the set payload to set some value.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, I'll stop here. For the